I've held back from publicly sharing this website anywhere for the last 2 years now. And I have told people about it privately, but I have never publicly posted the link to this website anywhere. But now, given everything that's happened and still happening, I think now's the time. Now is the time to do it. Ultimately, if you are a fan or a friend of Gary Tomlinson, you will disregard everything you're about to see as me causing trouble and having a problem. And that's your right. People that don't know him or know of him, and people that know me know the amount of stress, hassle that my family and I have had as a result of Gary Tomlinson in the last 2 years. And like I said, given everything, now is the time to share this and to really make people know what has been going on. A lot of people won't know about this site. Yes, hundreds of people view it every month, but I've never posted about it. As I say, friends of his, supporters of his will just class me as a con man. I've never been a con man in my life, and somebody that's out to cause trouble. But the reality is, the saying that if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. I have nothing to hide. My life is a completely open book. I've even wrote a book about my life, and I've got nothing to hide, and therefore I've got no fear. Whereas Gary Tomlinson is not in the same situation. I started working with Gary Tomlinson in 2019. I did a lot of work for free. He did give me one entry into his race for doing so. He contacted me to help him get his marketing up and running better. And I helped. Wasn't completely responsible, but I helped consult with him, get his marketing up to speed and better to where he doubled his entries into his race in 2019. It's true to say I regret the time I ever went to go and see him and meet him. I regret ever getting involved with him, but such is life. The background to this is that after I did the work for him in 2019, I signed a contract with him to help him promote his race going in 2020. I did hundreds of hours of work in exchange for 30 birds in his race in 2020. And I was going to sell entries in the race, bonus balls, all of that, to get my £5,000 as a way of helping him rather than charging him £5,000 up front for my work. Entries in that race, the 30 birds in the race, the 10 teams was my payment, and I could do with them as what I wanted. Cut a long story short, that never happened. He never gave me the entries in the race, and to this day I've never received a single penny of any money from him at all. Also, we did a DVD together, and he told me that I no longer own the rights to the DVD. So that's the background to this. When he made those actions, the AskTommo site was set up to be a resource for the people that bought the DVD, but I decided after everything that he started saying and doing that I would turn it into something a little bit different to show people my experiences of Tomlinson and his family. April 2020, I had a very long, hour-long phone call, which if you go to the AskTommo website, you can see here. It was recorded. He doesn't like the fact that it was recorded, but it was recorded because I knew the kind of thing that the outcome that it would be.
You put it on there yesterday. You put it on there yesterday saying...
Listen to that phone call. That phone call was made and it didn't go very well. Coincidentally, 70 minutes later, my car was set on fire. We'd only just moved to this house. Not many people knew where we lived. 3 people came and fired my car on my house as 20 foot from where my family and I were, 70 minutes later after that phone call. I'm not accusing anybody. What I'm saying is the fact that we had this phone call and 70 minutes later my car was set on fire. Tomlinson's theory is that I set the car on fire myself. It's fair to say the police were pretty useless and never found anybody for the incident. His theory, he then gave a response, which is there for anybody to watch, but he did remove it from Facebook 14 hours later for some reason. I gave my opinions on the family, and that was the catalyst to this whole thing. A disagreement about £5,000, which for whatever reason he refused to pay me. Everything changed, I've said this before, but everything changed in Blackpool 2020 when he realised he was going to hit his 1,500 goal that would make him over £100,000 that year. It all changed after that. Suddenly everything changed. My personal opinion is he thought, I don't need you anymore, and he just started causing problems. Another interesting piece is that at the time Who Dares Wins was FCI registered. As part of the FCI rules, you have to have independent race marking. Those people there in the race marking took from that race in 2020 were not independent because they had entries in their race. And as I said, I'm not saying these two people in question are any way in the wrong or they've done anything wrong. What I'm demonstrating is that it was another lie by Tomlinson. To me, Tomlinson is an out-and-out liar. He hates the fact that this website is there. You will see later that I've had threats about this website, legal threats and all kinds of stuff. He hates that actually somebody's prepared to stand up for him, to him, and tell the truth. I think he thought I would go away quietly. But you can only be bullied if you allow yourself to be bullied, and I'll never allow myself to be bullied. He thought I would go away 2 years ago. But the thing is, he relies on intimidation and threats with people for them to go away and not speak out about it. I gave another update in September of 2020. Then I decided I was going to do an RPRA hearing because I bought 7 pigeons in his auction that year for my son. He never gave me the pigeons, so I took him to the RPRA. Then he starts talking about other stuff about his auction. Eventually, he did agree to give my son the 7 pigeons that he owed. He refused for me to have them picked up by courier for whatever reason. He insisted that I should go to his house and pick them up. I wanted to pick them up by courier. We arranged the time. I went to pick them up. He said it wasn't convenient. He said that he'd emailed me earlier on to say it wasn't convenient, but I thought, being as I'm there now, Gary, just give me the pigeons and we're done. That whole thing ended up in Robert Tomlinson being arrested by the police, charged by the police, and convicted of assault by beating against my brother who came with me, because I thought there's a reason he wants me to come to the house and he won't just send them by courier. So I was going to take my brother with me as a bit of backup. And it's what happened is that Robert Tomlinson was charged and pleaded guilty to assault by beating. And you can listen to the whole thing there. This is all because he owed 7 pigeons to my son, and it caused that. Now I'm sure they'll blame me for that, but why wouldn't he just send them by courier? Wouldn't it be simpler just to send them by courier? I'll pay for the courier. We got the 7 pigeons, and it all ends up in that. Then in 2020, I revealed that Tomlinson was bidding on a lot of pigeons in the auction himself. He bid on 10 pigeons, and he managed to be able to get them for just £5 or £10 more. Well, the reason he was able to snipe them was because he knew how much the maximum bids were, because he had access to the admin area of the auction, because he runs his own auction site. And he got 10 birds by just sniping them because he knew what the maximum bids against other people were. And as a man of honesty, integrity and transparent, he was grabbing bargain pigeons and bidding on them himself. Then Tomlinson reports me to the police for harassment because he says this website, AskTommo.com, is harassment. I go for a police interview and they say there's no further action, it's freedom of speech and there's nothing illegal on there. Lots more RPRA hearing information. Who Dares Wins is the one-off race that's the only one-off race that's resigned from the FCI. It's no longer FCI registered. There's a lot of stuff on here. I'm not going to go through it all. Then, April 2021, he reports me to the police again for harassment. No further action. There's lots of information on here. Then finally at the RPRA hearing, I was reprimanded for bringing the sport into disrepute, and he was. And I appealed the hearing. And it was a whitewash, if I'm honest. The RPRA said that it was a civil matter and the 7 Pigeons ownership and all of that stuff was a civil matter. Then I show you that the winning bidder of the Mick Pigeon in last year's auction was bid for by somebody called Pierre Leclerc. Now, as the totally honest, open and transparent man that Gary Tomlinson purports to be, why would he feel the need to use a false name to bid on a pigeon that ended up selling for £12,000? I don't know, but he did. I already, prior to all of this, within a space of about 2 months after all of this started happening, I tried to get make a deal with him, and actually he agreed to settle on £3,000 to finish it all in April 2020, but an hour later changed his mind. I've no idea why he changed his mind, but he did. But in October 2021, because this had been going a long time, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try one more time. And I said, you know what, life's too short, Gary. I emailed him. I thought I would try him one more time to resolve the issue. I got no response. Then in October 2021, he accused me of hacking his auction website. Then he says, if you don't pay me hundreds of pounds a year, then you've got no opinion or right to comment about his race. I sent him some legal cease and desist orders in December. Tommo said that him and Annette, it's their opinion that pigeon people are a strange bunch in December 2021. That post got deleted. Then he starts putting up the banner that I made for him, which he still never paid me for. He starts putting that up. He says that maybe the hotels in Blackpool are not advertising because maybe they're full of refugees. Then it shows that Who Dares Wins Alfreton Limited, which is the company that runs the race apparently, has made a loss for the last 4 years. Then he starts getting people, puppet masters. I know for a fact he's spreading vile rumours about me. And one of his friends, Johnny Langham, accused me of a very vile, horrible thing. And I know, I can't prove it, but I know he's the one spreading these vile rumours about me. It's the best thing in the world to deflect what's really going on to show other people against you and spout a load of lies about somebody else. It's the best reflection thing in the world. So he starts to spread vile rumours about me via his friends. Then somebody says on one of the chat forums that Gary Tomlinson threatened to get a gun out to him because Tomlinson wanted £25 something or other for picking up pigeons when the man went to go and pick them up himself. But instead of that, then he turns out and saying, I could do with a man like you, and offered him £2,000 to burn out somebody's car. Now, for the record, this was way before my car got burnt out. This was 2 years before. And Anthony Coburn says, I see Gary Tomlinson from Who Dares Wins, doesn't like people to see the facts, blocks people, etc., etc. But what's more worrying is that Robert Tomlinson, the son of Gary Tomlinson, then messages this person in question and says, I know you're lying because I know for a fact that I can get a car burnt out for less than 50 quid. No problem. So why the F would my dad offer you £2,000? Maybe he thinks that's something to be proud of, knowing for a fact that you can get a car burnt out for £50. Again, Tomlinson wants to take me to the RPRA now about AskTommo. The RPRA told him that because it's a legal matter, apparently, they can't do anything. In Epsom show at the end of last year, the British Masters race guys, the Sullivans, approached me to help them with their marketing. I did so, and a whole bunch of stuff happened. Gary Tomlinson took them to court for them using a flyer that they said was too similar and misleading to people. And as you may or may not have seen this week, all of that came out. But on Monday last week, Gary Tomlinson lied through his teeth, saying that there was no problem with him and the British Masters. He hoped they could be friends, and them running the race this year was nothing to do with him. Complete lies. And it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. I tried via his solicitor, because he's taking me to court still for using leaflets that he said he owns the copyright to, although he never paid me a penny for any of it. He's still taking me to court for that. So I thought I'd try one last time via his solicitor to come to a resolution about all of this, but he declined the offer. In January, I got legal threats, which I put a video up about there, about this website, saying how much it was affecting Gary Tomlinson and his family. You can see that video there. That's the brief history of what I've been dealing with and my family's been dealing with for the last 2 years. I could go on for hours about this man. But as a man that prides himself on being honest, totally open, honest and transparent, the man is far from open and transparent. And he can spread as many vile rumours about me as possible. I don't care, because you can't prove any of it. Facts don't lie. And everything that is on this website, despite what his solicitors say, are my opinion about the man and his family, or are facts. And the more people that know about this, the better. Because as far as I am concerned, Gary Tomlinson prides himself on keeping up the persona of salt of the earth, ex-miner, but in reality, he's far from that. He makes a lot of money every year, although his company accounts don't show that he makes a lot of money doing this race. But he relies on bullying, harassment and intimidation by people. He hates the fact that people speak out. I've been blown away by the amount of phone calls and messages I had for speaking out, showing that he was a complete liar last Monday on his show about the British Masters situation. And the reality is I don't care anymore. I will not be bullied, threatened or intimidated by him or any of his family. And as far as I'm concerned, people should know what he's really about. Like I said at the beginning of this, his fans and his friends will cast it off as whatever they want to cast it off as. But like I said, I got nothing to hide. My life is completely an open book. Like me, don't like me. Doesn't matter. But the amount of stress, hassle that him and his family have caused me over the last 2 years, I think it's important that people should know what this man's really about, and that's what AskTommo is about. Because despite legal threats or any other threats, this website will be staying online. I thoroughly expect him to take me to court about this website, but I will fight my case because there's facts and opinion on there. There's nothing illegal about it, and there's no lies on it. So it's up to people to make their own mind up. After everything I've been through, like I say, I regret the day that I ever heard from the man. The racing pigeon sport is in a bad enough situation as it is at the moment without things like this. And in my own opinion, Gary Tomlinson and people like him don't do anything to help. And you may watch this and say, this is just bringing the sport down. And I agree, it does, sadly. But people need to know the truth. People need to know what people are like really behind the scenes. Because you can put a persona out there and it not be real at all. And like I've said online before, I've got no problem with people having an issue what I have or have not done in the past. If I've done it and you've got a problem with it, fine. But don't have an issue with me for things I've not done. And I know, like I said earlier, Gary Tomlinson is the perpetuator of vile, horrible lies about me. And unfortunately, he brings other people into it as well. When I started helping the British Masters doing their social media and their marketing and their website, he hated that. And he's done everything he can to try and set the British Masters against me to prevent them from helping him. That's just one of the things. You can have a look at the site if you want at AskTommo.com. You can see everything that's on there. Like I said, nothing to hide, nothing to fear. Thank you for watching.